everybody. How are you? I've got on my holiday sweater. We are holidays right around the corner. And I'm really excited about this conversation today because we are talking about joy, right? We talk so much about it, and the work that we all do deals so much with the things that people don't like to talk about, right? But one of the things that we don't talk about is how joy, especially for people of color, how joy sustains us, right? And how it really is a thing that we use as a tool of resistance to all the stuff that comes against us. And so when I was thinking about this episode, I was like, I need like the first three people that came to my mind were these people with the biggest smiles and most like effervescent like personalities that I could think of. And so I'm glad to have two of my colleagues from PSI with me today. I have Miss Karla Cardozo, who's our manager for our Spanish helpline and does a lot of work with our Spanish help seekers and works really close with the Alliance and with Xochitl Carlos Mendez, who is the Spanish Cultural Programs Manager for the Alliance, to do a lot of our work with Latinx and Spanish speaking populations here and abroad in Latin America and even over in Europe, right?
Yes.
Then we have Miss Shanita Alvarez Crawley, who is a social worker, licensed social worker, doing big things out in Jersey. She's also the Alliance rep for the Jersey board. But she's just such a light and just brings so much laughter into the room when she comes. And so I couldn't think of any three better people to be here to talk about joy today. So thank you all for being with me.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure being here with all of you.
Yes, I'm so excited. Thank you, Andrea.
You see the excitement. You see what I'm saying? So now y'all know why I picked these people.
I know. Yes.
None of them have stopped smiling.
I know. I'm like blushing because I feel so honored. But thank you so much. And I'm glad that like you guys feel my spirit when I come around. So it means I'm doing a great job.
Yeah. You feel mine too, girl. All right. So I just want to know, first of all, what is joy? And is joy different from happiness? Like, Shanita, let's start with you. Like, what's joy? Is joy different from happiness?
So when I think about joy, I think about those feelings of pleasure and a level of happiness, right? I think that happiness and joy are different, but happiness is encompassed in joy, right? It's looking at the everyday things and the things that we're grateful for. There's gratuity, gratitude, and different things that we keep in the concept and the thoughts of joy. I feel like happiness, if you bump it out without all the other things, we're missing a few things, right? Because you can't have happiness without joy.
Okay. What do you think, so?
I feel joy is a lifestyle. It's like like this daily sense of gratitude, fulfillment, like it's just like enjoy every moment. So it's for me, it's like something permanent. Then it has these moments of happiness where like you are excited and all those moments. But joy is something that surround yourself. It's like it runs through your veins and make you feel like grateful for where you are, with who you are. Like these moments, like this moment is like a combination between like joy and happiness, because like this, like, is, as Shanita says, it's an honor to be here with all you. And this is gratitude, and gratitude is part of joy and it's part of happiness. So for me, it's like a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. I love it. Karla, what do you think?
Well, when you were speaking and just hearing each and one of you, I'm looking at the window right now because I have a hummingbird feeder just right outside the window. It's like sucked on my window, so I could see the hummingbird as I'm working, whenever I have meetings and whatnot. So to me, sometimes it's just taking a moment to enjoy what could be in the present moment right there and then. It's just like this sensation that permeates your body at a very deep level, even just to the cellular aspect, that sometimes can be hard to put into words, right?
Mm,
It's just you have to feel it. It's
Exactly.
this thing about just feeling that brings warmth, that makes you feel gratitude and grateful for being able to look at something, being able to taste something, being able to smell something.
yeah.
um, and hearing so mention, it reminded me also, I love saying this word in Spanish, apapacho. Apapacho is like this hug, right? Like this
Mhm.
warming, comforting, nurturing hug, lovingly hug that comes from the spirit, comes from the inside out. So when we are able to have that aspect for ourselves, first and foremost, it has to start from that place. Then we are able to share that and provide that to others.
Yeah, I love all of that. I
Yeah.
keep thinking, and when I think of happiness, like I think that we as human beings need both, right? Like we need both. Sometimes for me, happiness it can be just dependent on circumstances, right? And
Mhm.
so when it feels like you have everything you want or need, or like everything is going well, then happiness is attended to that, right? Or if there's a really particular high moment of celebration, right? Thinking of like great birthday celebrations that I've been to, or my son winning a baseball game and there being that high, right, of like that happiness, right? Um, but then that can go away, right? I love what So said about joy running through your veins, right? And being a lifestyle, because it really is more about what all of you have said about like even when you're not happy and things are not always going the right way, there can still be this joy and this gratefulness for what you do have, right? And for the ability to experience all your senses, or even when I'm down, the ability for my son to give me a hug, right? To have that hug from him, like that always brings me joy, right? And so yeah, so I guess along that lines, like Karla, as a mental health practitioner, is it possible to have joy if like you're experiencing a hard time or depression, or especially in the perinatal period?
Mhm. That's a great question. I feel like it can be possible, right? But it's also important to be ready and receptive to start a change, and also accepting transformation. Transformation is part of our nature, it's part of our life, it's part of our evolution.
Mhm.
And it's about nurturing this aspect, being able to recognize that it's part of me and it's a subtle feeling, and then be able that it's there, right, that I'm able to tap into it. And that despite of the adversity or the stressful moment that I might be having, the rough day that I might be having with whomever, right, other circumstance, coming back to joy and holding on to it, right, it could be that foundation to continue the journey, and believe that I will be able to go through that, especially when somebody's there supporting me as a companion, as a peer mentor, as a therapist, whomever the social support aspect team may be, so that I can continue that transformational journey. So I feel like it is.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Shanita?
Well, I love that. And I think building on what Karla was saying as I'm listening to her speak, right? It's about the journey. And I think when I see people, and again, we're looking for that momentarily inflated feeling of happiness for the moment, right? What about the journey? And I think, grounding ourselves and looking at all the things that we have, and like Karla pointed out, the social supports, the thing around us, the idea of your son coming and giving you a hug, right? Let's come back to the present. But I'm also a big person on learning how to laugh on some of your hardest days. Andrea, you guys know that from me. I laugh through a lot of different things. We know that comedians use that. So what about these experiences are we going through? What are we taking away? And then how can we be
Mhm.
comfortable laughing at ourselves, right? And I think when we start to learn those different things again and stay present in that joy and looking at, okay, this glass is always full. We're not even going to focus on the empty side of that glass, right? I think that it's very helpful in bringing us back to what we need to, and grounding us back to where we can get to go. But
I love
the
I
journey
love
is everything.
I love that the glass. There's always something in the glass, right? We're not even looking
Always.
for whether it's half full or half empty. Why do we phrase it like that? There's something in the glass,
Right.
right?
And we're gonna be grateful that we have a glass to hold something in.
Right,
Let's start there, you know?
right. Yeah. So I wonder if there have ever you I just like even from the time when you were interviewing from your job, like the joy was kind of like always is
Oh
just
yeah.
part of who you are. And I'm wondering if there's been a time when you felt like you weren't able to access that joy, and how did you find your way back to it?
Yes, I remember like two moments. The first was the 2020. I think everyone struggle is during the pandemic, and I remember that I was facing so many situations, like a lot of people passing away. Like I remember my dad in that year was kidnapped, and also he was stabbed multiple times. So it was like that year was like uh, everyone was struggling. But I remember that year as one of the worst years of my life,
Wow.
Mhm.
and it's the first time that I didn't feel like anything. And I was depressed. I fell into depression, and I reached out for treatment and everything. But it's I was feeling empty. And what I did is like try to remember, like through therapy, through all the support, like what was before the 2020, and for me, one of the most important pieces of my life is nature. So
Mhm.
what I started doing is I increased my rise, like my hiking days. So I was hiking every day because, and I'm a tree hugger. Like, so
You're a tree
I was like, you
hugger.
know, my husband always laugh at me, but I was hugging like trees. I was like, I need to feel something, and nature brought me alive. Like I remember that every time, every walk, every hiking, every view, every mountain, for me was like bring me to life. That was what I did, and I remember that was the beginning of my healing journey. Nature, just feeling, just breathing, just connecting with nature. So that was my way to find joy and reclaim joy, because it is, I struggled also with PMETs, but I remember 2024 was the moment that I don't want to live again. So
Mm. So you were out there actually hugging trees.
yes.
Nice.
Well, you have to do what you have to do.
Yes.
you know
I love it. I love that. I think it's important for us to know the things that bring us joy, right?
Yeah.
Like so you can reconnect, like you said, remember like what was it and who was I? What brought me joy before 2020, before all of this awful stuff started happening?
Yeah.
Karla, what brings you joy?
Me,
Yeah.
as I'm hearing, the conversation, what came to my mind is actually, and you also said something about the perception or the lens, right? So the practice that I did a practice this morning before, my appointments and everything. And it was especially this, a reminder that I'm not all my thoughts, right? Like, who am I? Like, what am I? And just hearing so talking about nature and like yes, that's exactly it. I am not my thoughts of yes, this painful aspect. Of course we can recognize and feel, right? I'm not ignoring that aspect, but when we take a moment to pause and remind ourselves that we are all of this, like we're part of something greater, right? I think that's where it can help us connect with that aspect of joy and being joyful, feeling joyful again, feeling connected, feeling grounded, as we mentioned. Um, and I think when we invite that movement into our bodies, sometimes even as simple as doing just circles with our arms, shrugging and letting go. It's an opportunity also to let go of all these either ideas, identities that we carry,
Mm,
or that we take responsibility for maybe our others without realizing, right?
mhm.
So I think that's the other aspect that has been helpful to me. And I also want to invite whoever's listening right now and whoever's going to be listening to us to invite some of that movement as well and pay attention and just pause, because we are constantly
But
go, go, do. We're like doers. So
Right.
we really are not giving ourselves a time to rest, to
yeah.
really regenerate so
Whew.
that we can continue.
My goodness, Karla, I feel like I felt convicted in here. I was just thinking about so many things. Like I forgot about like about three things that I had to do today. But I know it's because and I ended up running late for like two of them. But I know it's because I don't do that,
Mhm.
right? I don't take the time to stop and be intentional about stopping. And just saying this to one of my own clients the other day, like, when do you rest?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And her saying like, like I don't feel like I deserve to rest because there's always something to do, right? So we unpacking that, but
Yeah.
Right.
you
Yes.
know, but then still as a clinician sitting on the other side, like, oh damn, maybe
Right. Right. Right.
what you think?
Right.
Shanita, what you think?
Listen, I'm with you all, right? And what you just said, Andrea, like being the clinician sitting on that side, and you're unpacking this with your clients, and then you're like, afterwards, you're debriefing, like, well, I need to go home and do the same thing I just told them because, I feel this way. But I think, especially when we're working with moms and we're going through that transition of life from who we were prior to giving birth to these little ones, and then still we're grappling to get back and don't have like a full-time job or career, right? Because we're
Right.
grappling to get back and be that level of what we were prior to giving birth and things like that, but also renegotiating what it looks like to be the mother of this child now, right? And then how do we find ourselves and how do we find moments to move around or hug a tree or just take a nap, right? Like what we wouldn't give for that. But the same way that we're sharing that with the folks that we're reaching out to, we've got to do that, for ourselves. And it could be like one of the things that I realized in my journey was like, I really enjoy music, right? And I hadn't really been listening to music and playing it in the house loud and doing certain things because you're tiptoeing around these babies. So, earbuds, whatever, like what are those things that help us get back to us so we can reclaim some of our identity and who we are?
Mm.
And Andrea, I just want to like connect it what Shanita said. I feel like happiness has been overrated. Like, like there's like sometimes like this toxic happiness around like society when you need to travel and you need to do this and like big things, and it's not like that. Like a pause in your like day. Just like sit and reflect. Walk like and just reconnect. Those are like these small things that
Right,
bring you that. Like
right,
people don't need to go and doing a like expensive trip. Like I feel that like social media is impact us like the way
Yeah.
that we look to happiness.
right,
So it's just like letting people know that it's not like that. Like it's just small things. Like if you love like grapes, enjoy those grapes. Like those pieces to reconnect where who you are, where you are, and who are surrounded. Like with like those little pieces, and don't look at social media. Social media, I feel that it's just something's really toxic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes it is, and sometimes I even find myself doing that, like looking at how busy my life is and then looking at some of my peers and friends and like the stuff that they're doing and out partying and at these galas and on great vacations and all of these things. And like, man, like I really want to be doing, all I got is work. Like I don't have anything else to post on there. All I have is work. But you're right. Like it's not about those big expensive things. And I think that the connection that we're making is between the concept of self-care and joy. And
Mm.
reclaiming joy is a practice of self-care. But
Yes.
self-care has been like that phrase has been co-opted to mean like doing all of these expensive, going to the spa or treating yourself to some really lavish or whatever. But really, like, what it is if you know that it's music that makes you, reconnect with that sense of joy, then putting your earbuds in and like dancing around your house. Or
Yep.
that it's doing yoga or stretching that makes you feel that joy. That's what it is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I want to add, sorry, Shanita mentioned the word reclaim.
Mhm.
And I feel like in a way, what we as providers of color are working on, maybe this generation in particular, is being able to support our clients in reclaiming their bodies, reclaiming their spirit, awakening a memory, an ancestral memory that's there for healing, for wellness,
Mhm.
right? And one of the other things that I oftentimes tell my clients is, okay, how can we add a micro dose of wellness today or this week? Just like
Mhm.
So is saying, we don't need to be seated for 20 minutes of meditation or go to the spa, because sometimes a lot of the families that I get to work with don't have that privilege.
Mhm.
So it's about deconstructing and decolonizing, I feel like, in a way, that what wellness is like for each and one of us.
right.
Some of us may have the privileges to travel or to get a massage and go to the spa, and that's fabulous. But there are many other opportunities of wellness accessible that are inexpensive and that we can do all the time, just like music. I love music. I play music all the time. I'm dancing, and I've been listening to Natalia Lafourcade's new latest album this week, all week. And I feel like it's in my head playing a few songs already. So I feel like that's also where we can make a meaningful impact with the families that we get to work with.
Yeah. Shanita, what were you gonna add? Do you remember?
My brain probably jumped to something else.
Sorry,
I got
Shanita.
so entranced in Karla's like, let's go back to the spiritual realm, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And if people, are looking for find like joyful music, we have our playlist. So and
That's fun.
Spotify.
Thank you. Thank you. So I was gonna we do. We were talking about this, and it's the holiday season, so we've been talking a lot about joy just as an alliance team. And I realized I really did mean to put some Christmas songs on there, because there are some Christmas songs that bring me joy, but there are really not a whole lot of like holiday songs on the joy playlist. But these are all like from those of us on the alliance team, like the songs
Hmm.
that make us feel good, like that get us moving, right? And kind of like a soundtrack for our own like reclamation of our own joy, right?
Mhm,
Right.
And
mhm.
so thinking about reclaiming, what are some of the things that steal joy? Like some of the things that take joy away. And why do we have to reclaim it?
Right. I think I think um, some of what we were talking about like social media, right, and how we see our friends doing this and doing this and doing that. When you get so engrossed in that, and that's ingrained in you, every time you look at people who are posting certain things and doing certain things, it makes you feel like, why? What am I not doing right? Right? Like to your point, Andrea, like I'm not dressed up in galas. All I have is work, right? And if you're not really mindful of that, or you're watching other people pose these perfect pictures and these perfect bodies and the snapback and the beautiful baby photos, and you know that your days don't look like that. I think that in our birthing journeys really, really impacts our feelings of joy and happiness, because we're struggling with, oh, when I see this picture, this looks like happiness, right? These people look like they are happy and they are winning. And this is what I got over here, right? My joke is kind of like I'm covered in boob milk and applesauce, and I don't look like that, right? So what's happening? And I think that will easily consume an individual, and it could absolutely rob us of our joy, because we're chasing this inflated feeling of happiness, and we're not taking that moment to look at the joy, the gratitude for what we have, what we've done, what's going on, what our life looks like, right? And being okay with saying, this is my life. God bless you if you can do that, but this is me, and I'm grateful for all of this.
Mm-hmm. Grateful for the applesauce in the hair. Like,
Yes, and the boob milk. Because listen, if you can produce milk, you are winning, right? There are a lot of women on a breastfeeding journey struggling, right? So I often tell my patients, like, that is something to be very grateful of, right? The ability to meet your breastfeeding goals, right?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. What does it mean to reclaim joy? Like, why do we need to take it back? So, like, what takes joy? What does it mean to take it back? That's reclaiming it. I think means I keep having this image in my head of like a forcefully, like, a kid
Big.
snatch the toy and then the other one wants the toy, they snatch it back. Like, no, you can't have it.
Right,
You know,
right.
looking at that picture is like to have like healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries, like that is also part of reclaiming your joy, like the people where you are surrounding with, like it's not just like family, friends, work, like it's like boundaries is meant also like self-love. And I feel
Yeah,
that in this time, this season, like a lot of people, I acknowledge that a lot of people, like could have toxic families. Like in Mexico, sometimes, like the reunions and all this stuff, like it means that, oh my God, I need to, spend
mhm,
time with that family. Then it's not like we're in Mexico, familism, this
Can be
is
big.
is big in Mexico. So, you know, reclaiming joy is in those moments when you need to set those boundaries and say, like, I don't like your toxic machismo, or I don't like your, um, the way that you are attacking. It sounds like you are discriminating someone. So I'm not gonna be part of that. So also,
mhm.
is this piece, because I just picturing I'm programming myself because I'm going to Mexico and I have like amazing family, but yeah, I have one or two that is like, oh my God, So that is, I can see that picture in taking, reclaiming
Like
that joy.
taking it back.
Yeah.
What
The
do
way
you think,
Andrew said
Karla?
it too. You got
Like taking it back. What do you think, Karla? What do you think? Reclaiming.
Ooh. I feel I'm thinking several things came to my mind, but one of them was that oftentimes society, families are not teaching us how to pay attention to what's coming. So there's a lot of distractions. So these distractions are pulling away our energy, right? We sometimes consciously or sometimes unconsciously, we're feeding certain energies. We're feeding, or maybe we maybe surrender. Let's actually even take that back. Sort of like maybe give up to that moment of, if I'm having a joyful moment, right?
Mhm.
Because maybe this thought or that situation from either the future that is not even just yet happening, or something that took place in the past, is reminding me of, that unhealthy cousin, or that, uncle, that tío that keeps just being nagging about whatever, making those comments, right? So to me, is giving myself the opportunity to reclaim my energy, my space in that moment, to say, no,
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
today is not the day. Today I'm speaking and I'm nurturing and I'm surrendering to joy.
Yeah.
This is where I need to continue cultivating and nurturing, so that I can be more intentional about setting those healthy boundaries that Zoe is talking about,
Yeah.
and reclaiming that aspect so that I can continue in this path in my journey of transformation, because that's what we are, all of us. It's a path of ongoing transformation in each
Yes.
season.
Yes.
In each season. Yeah. Yeah. I think about and even as this is hard. Like, so I was having this hard conversation with a girlfriend of mine this morning, because she's telling me every time she texts me or calls me and I respond like, I'm in a meeting, I'm in class, I'm with a client, I'm doing something, and she's just like, I just started praying for you, like, Lord, help my friend understand how to put stuff down. And she's like, are you taking time off during the holidays? I was like, yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
But especially because at PSI we work virtually,
Mm-hmm.
that's hard because I'm gonna take time off, but I'm not going anywhere. So it's easy for me if I'm going away. Like if I was going on vacation or going away, it's easier for me to say, okay, I'm on vacation, but I'm taking vacation time, but I'm not really like, I still will have I'm probably still going to check my email.
Mm-hmm.
I just won't take meetings. I probably still will do work. Um, and so she's like, that is not, it's not taking. And she's like, I know you love what you do, but this, this is how we start to burn out, right? This is how, even when what we do brings us joy and we really love the work that we do, and we love the people that we work with, like not being intentional about, like So says, setting those boundaries and holding those boundaries, and making time to just nurture yourself and do something. I'm other things besides the director of the alliance, right? And to nurture those other things, like then work starts to feel joyless, right?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
other stuff that you're doing in life starts to feel joyless because you've not taken the time to pour into yourself.
Right.
And so I think Thanksgiving Day, my family went to Detroit to be with other members of the family, and I was intentional. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, I love y'all. You know, some of them get on my nerves, but I love everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to be by myself. I
All right.
just want to sit in my bed and watch Christmas movies, and
Yeah.
I don't eat turkey anyway, so I'm not going to taking a nap, and that was kind of like a revolutionary thing for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, oh my God, I really did had a day when I did nothing. But
Mhm.
but as I said to my client the other day, is resting, doing nothing, is it really, if you have to think of it, if you're a person that always has to be doing something, resting is doing something, right? It's recharging your battery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 What
Sure.
other ways or plans do you guys have this during this holiday season for how you're gonna experience and express joy?
Mm.
You
Who's starting? You. So are you? I think you're ready to
No,
say
yeah, I'm
something.
just thinking,
You're thinking.
like how well, I'm going to Mexico, and
Yeah.
I'm planning to fulfill my body of a lot of Mexican food. So that's gonna reclaim my joy through through food. So and I love food, so that makes me happy. If I'm happy, I just share that with everyone. So I can, planning to go to Mexico, spend time, set a lot of boundaries because I have some machistas cousins. So I will do that. But besides that, just enjoy the fact that I'm alive. I have the privilege to travel to my hometown because I know and I acknowledge that not a lot of people have that ability, like living in US. So just be grateful for the fact that my family is alive. So and I able to see my mom, my dad, my sister. So I I just like excited for what is coming and grateful with God, you know, because I'm here and I'm surrounded with an amazing people. And I closing an amazing year working with PSI, working with so many amazing people. So that's my way, being grateful and do my best next year because that is what life is, improving every day. So
Yes, I know we're working on an amazing year, 2024. So, in the Spanish language program in a PSI, so that's exciting. Um, well, I want to share that I'm looking forward to just do my rituals here at the house. I'll be burning or my setting some fire on my copal burner, especially around the. So I need to do it sometime this weekend. To me, that's a way of connecting and express gratitude to my guardians and all the divine energies that are with me, have been with me in this journey to continue doing the work that I'm doing right now. I also intend to slow down, not scheduling. I don't have any clients, very little clients next week, but definitely taking 2 weeks off of not scheduling any clients. So the work at PSI will be kind of mild in a way, and just doing that. But also enjoying maybe some hikes.
Hug trees.
Yes,
Hugging
I'll
to a
probably
tree.
I'll be laying down on the ground or walking barefoot if the weather permits, because it will be changing. Although it's a little sunny right now. But I have a few things that I need to finish for my yoga training. So that's going to be also exciting. Just writing certain reflections and creating my sequences. So I think just doing things that I'm enjoying that fulfills my soul.
I love it. I love it. What about you, Shanita?
It's all about family for me. As I'm thinking about everything, like we've been very intentional. We have older kids in college and in military, so we get all of them to come home. My husband and I are excited. We've been getting the house together, just to kind of sit with them and just be grateful that they're living their goals. They're coming home. And just being very intentional around the holiday season. We still have the little ones home, so we're just a busy house, but we're going to be very intentional about making sure we connect with all of our loved ones, and just be present every moment of it and enjoy every moment. And just to kind of, as mom, to step back and watch my family evolve the way it's evolving, right? And look at these great kids and this great husband and these great siblings and this great family that I have. And it's like, I'm really, like Xochitl said, I'm very blessed. Everyone's here. We get to laugh and joke, and we joke a lot, as you guys must know. It's just a house of laughter. So I think being intentional, but being so humbled by like blessings this year, and to everyone else's point, great things coming up in 2024. So just kind of where we're going, and to be in a space where we're blessed, appreciating it, showing gratitude, learning from it, and still emerging to be like a better version of myself every day. So
I love that. I love that. I think I am I just got to this point because I share custody of my son with my ex-husband. And I had to go actually pick him up for school this morning, which I usually don't do on Fridays. So that's one of the things I forgot I had to do. So he called me. It's like, Mommy, are you coming to get me? I'm like, oh, oops. We made it to school on time. But sometimes, being a busy mom, I don't really consider myself a single mom. But yeah, I'm a single mom, right? With all the things that I have to do. And sometimes it feels like the running my kid around is just another one of the things that I have to do, right? And so for me, part of the joy this season, I realized when he got in the car this morning, was reframing it, and what a privilege it is, and what an honor it is, because this is a little boy that I prayed for, and to see the person that he's evolving into, and the happiness and the joy on his face, just he lights up when he sees me, and I light up when I see him. And so we got into the car, and we were driving, and I said, Grant, it's my weekend with him. I was like, it's Grant and Mommy weekend, and we both say yay at the same time. And so looking forward to like tonight, like watching like a movie he wants to watch, together, and like cooking dinner together and spending that time, with him, because he's gonna be off and doing his own thing in a matter of, I blinked and 10 years has gone by. So I blink and another 10 is gonna go by, but also making time to connect with my old friends and some new friends that I'm making, and to just like share meals together and laughter. And I live for those moments when I can be with people around whom I can fully be myself. Right.
Yes.
So I have plans to do all of those things, right? That they get to know the full me and see the full me, and they can be their full self, right? Like, that is the thought of that, and the thought of this being my last day of classes is bringing me joy for the semester.
Fantastic. One of the things that I would like to share, because it seems like it's a common denominator, and you just with what you just said last, Andrea, reminded me of connection. I think all of us
Mm-hmm.
wanting to make intentional and joyful connections, right?
Yeah.
With ourselves, number one, but also with our families, our loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're creating these intentional and joyful and connections, that are authentic, are going to leave, wonderful marks, and in our may make also joyful moments and experience memories, with our families.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that one of the other things that I was thinking of before we wrap up is the way that a lot of times, and I've had my friends from other cultures. Well, I don't call us minorities because really people of color we are the 2/3 global majority, right? We're 2/3 of the world is you know our shades are somewhere around there, right?
Right.
Um, so, but one of my friends that I've made at my clinical internship site is from Egypt, and she was talking about how sometimes she said that sometimes in my culture we laugh in the middle of pain and like really difficult situations. We make like what other people might think are inappropriate jokes,
Mm-hmm.
but I said, girl, African American
Yeah.
people do that too. Like Patience always says, black people can't take nothing seriously. Like, we have a serious discussion, and then here we come
True.
making jokes, right?
Yeah.
And so I wonder if you all find that to be true too. But that's a way of, I think, our joy, like being a tool of resistance against
Mm-hmm.
the things that come against us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you all find that too?
I mean, so I think it could be connected to like that tool of resistance. And again, maybe it's one of those unspoken cultural things because I've talked about how much I laugh often, right? And I think as a youngin, I felt like, people are going to laugh or they're going to say whatever. I'm gonna laugh at myself first, right? And I'm gonna find the funniest things in it. But I think at sometimes of, just having like the family that I had and the people that are around me, we are laughing through some of the darkest times, right? Some of my early workings, working with children and families, there have been some really gut wrenching things that we've had to experience. And somehow, what we call dark humor as it being a coping skill to kind of help us get through it, but also not internalize it so much. So maybe it is connect. I never thought about it that way, though.
Mm-hmm.
Connected to
Yes.
resistance.
Uh, I feel you, Shanita, because I feel like my culture, like, well, I'm from Mexico, we have this dark humor too that is really hard to understand for people outside the culture sometimes, because like even the way that we see like really hard situations, for example, when someone passed away, like in the Mexican culture, like that is just it's a celebration of life, and we have this like funeral, but it's like a party, and everyone eat and everyone laugh and everyone bring like tequila and share experience. And yes, it's a way to cope, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also resiliency, like it's the
Yes,
way that
yes.
Mhm.
we just pass the moment, face the moment, and bring light to that dark moment. So it's
Mhm.
I have seen my husband is American, so sometimes for him it's just like hard to understand that piece, but it's just like a like really part of our culture, the laughing, the
Mhm.
find just joy in those moments that even are really painful.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. It made me think of a moment when I was in grad school and we were speaking about this and trauma and how in our Latino, Afro Latino culture, or just the teacher was Latina from Panama. She is from Panama. She's still alive. But we were talking about not only music, but also laughter, using it as a way to move through that experience. And I personally feel like I have evolved and maybe have grown to be more playful in that way, or when there's certain adversities or stressful moments, to find a joyful side or find a funny side to it.
Mhm.
If we don't start laughing, just like when I fell riding a bike in Yosemite this summer, then the more maybe I contemplate and hold on to that painful feeling,
Mhm.
then I'm not learning even just to let go and recognize all the space that I have within me,
Right.
to know that there is space for that pain, for that hurt, that frustration, that anger, that sadness. But there's also all this other space for laughter, for connecting with joy, gratitude, and love, and all these other, healthy feelings in a way. So those are some of the things that made me think as we're reflecting on this particular question. And yes, it may be used as a coping mechanism as well,
Mhm.
but I think it also helps us to transcend, to move through, to let go of,
Yes.
and find rejoy once again, or joy in it as well.
I love it.
I just want to add one more thing. And I feel that, people, and I'm going to say people like us, and we try to find joy in every moment. And I don't going to talk for you all, but I feel that in my case, I have faced so many dark moments. Then that is your tool, to support people, to because you know how it feels,
Yeah.
like all that dark experience, and you understand and you help and support because you know how it feels. So you don't want that for everyone around you. So that is, I feel, that my big tool,
Yep.
to support and help others. I don't want they to feel like, those experiences when you are really down in the bottom. So
Right.
Right.
Right. Thank you all so much. This has been a really wonderful,
It
uh,
has.
really, really wonderful
yeah.
conversation. I really am glad. Thank you, Karla. Thank you, Xochitl. Thank you, Shanita. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank
thank
you
you
for
all
having
for watching. Now, we want you to know we've been talking about reclaiming your joy, and we've talked about times in our own, lives when we found that hard to do. And so we understand if you or someone you love is having a hard time, not feeling like yourself, not being able to find your way back to joy, you'll see the numbers for our PSI helpline, both in English and Spanish, are scrolling across the bottom of the screen. The maternal mental health hotline is also scrolling. And look, it doesn't have to be you. If you're concerned about a family member and you want some guidance about how to help them, you can call any of these hotline numbers. If you are in crisis and you've gotten to the point where not only can you not find the joy, but you feel like you might not want to be here any longer, there is somebody that can talk to you, right? We want to walk with you through that. And you don't even have to dial the 10 digits. Just dial those three numbers you see,
Yeah.
988, and somebody will be there, okay? Maternal Mental Health Hotline, we have counselors in about, I don't remember how many languages. It's over 20 languages.
Yeah, 60, Andrea. And I want to
Language.
say that the phone number for the maternal mental health hotline, it's 833-852-6262 or 833 TLC Mama. And that's it changed. So just to be aware.
Okay. So
Mhm.
say that one more time. The number for the Maternal Mental Health Hotline is
833-852-6262.
okay. Okay. All right. We'll make that update.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I'm wishing all of you watching
Yes.
the joy of this season. Find some way to spoil and pamper yourself. Go hug a tree, do yoga, laugh with your family, drink some tequila. That soul's been trying to get me to drink
Mezcal, yes.
for the last week. Andre, you didn't drink anything
Whatever
this week.
warms your heart and your soul.
Whatever nourishes your heart and your soul. I hope that you find that, and maybe even some things that you didn't know would nourish you. Like find
Exactly.
those things this holiday season. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you to my
and
guests.
be intentional,
Intentional.
Intentional about it. That's right.
Intentional conscientiously. Yes.
That's right. Exactly.
Mhm.
To
Happy
reclaim it,
holidays.
taking it back. Anytime somebody tries to take it, we're taking it back.
Like, nope, that's mine.
Right? All right. You all have a great weekend and have a happy holiday season. We'll see you next
Happy
month.
Next
holidays,
time.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.